Greetings, dear viewers of the Uganda Catholic Television. I am Joseph Kabaale. In the studios today, we are joined with an official from the National Identification and Registration Authority, NIRA. She's here to take us through the ongoing mass enrollment and renewal exercise, which in fact it commenced late May around the 27th. And there are so many controversies, contradictions, myths regarding the same exercise. Miss Claire would like to say hi to the viewers. Perhaps you put right the records, but in the first place, you introduce yourself, the position or the honoraries you have, so that we know you better.
Yes, hello to you, our dear viewers. I'm exceptionally honored that Joseph is having me here today. My name is Ollama Claire, like you rightly introduced me. I'm a registrar with the National Identification and Registration Authority. I sit in Buikwe District. I am here this morning to take you through major updates, milestones, and a few things that would interest the public. That is not about NIRA, but that is about each one of us as Ugandans. So thank you for making the time to tune in.
So first and foremost, we would like to know about what has inspired the National Registration Authority to come up with this kind of exercise at this particular time, and what should that viewer behind the screen know about this? Like, what are these facts? Because so many people are having so many beliefs, contradictions. Some are arguing up to the extent of fighting, even the literates. There is so much they don't know, they wish to know.
Well, thank you very much. This exercise is dubbed mass enrollment and mass renewal exercise. And the purpose is dual. The first is to renew all the national identity cards that have their lifespan expired. You will recall that in 2014, the National Identification Registration Authority, then operating as a project, commenced the process of documenting the citizenship of people and giving them a card to that effect. It is now 10 years already, and it's about time that we renewed these cards. About 15 million cards fall into that category. But we also note that there are other people, about 17 million Ugandans, who have never approached NIRA and therefore are not identified by way of a NIN or do not have a card whatsoever. So this exercise is also meant to ensure that all those who have never enrolled get an opportunity to be registered, obtain a NIN or a national ID, and subsequently be able to be unique in a way that government can look at them individually. I know many people will quickly say, but we have a name. But then we are saying you also need a NIN. What a NIN does, it's a combination of unique characters that point to you and you alone in a manner that leverages technology and the use of your biometrics. So that's what this exercise is about, and I want to encourage you, dear viewer, that please do come out in big numbers. Do not allow to be invisible. Make your time. Go to a NIRA registration center. Renew your national ID if it is expired, or register to obtain a NIN.
This exercise was launched on 27th May, and we understand there could be some achievements.
Yes.
And perhaps some challenges. Could you mind highlighting about that? Because like you said the previous interview, you informed the public so far 3.5 million Ugandans applicants had already approached you. So what could be some of the challenges surrounding this whole exercise, especially with you, the officials, your officials? What could be some of these challenges they have encountered when enrolling these new applicants?
Thank you very much. Like you rightly referenced, we are celebrating every milestone because we are cognizant that a journey of 10,000 miles will begin with one step. So if we are going to Kabaale, we will celebrate when we reach Lukaya by taking a piece of gonja and maybe a piece of meat. So yes, 3.5 million is well in, and that was as of Monday. I'm sure that when we go to the next presser, probably next week, we will have an updated position. And for me, that is very commendable because it shows that Ugandans have embraced identity, and they are continuing to flourish and enjoy the benefits that come with being unique and seen differently, ease of access to service. Like you said also, such an exercise cannot be without challenges. There are challenges, but we are paid not to win. We are paid to solve and work real time to make sure that we improve the experience of all Ugandans. Government is cognizant that technology is here and here to stay. And so we opened up a pre-registration portal that should allow Ugandans to input their information and then just walk down for biometric capture. Pretty much like what happens at immigration. You pre-fill your own form and then you just go back for biometric capture. So we created that option. But however, there are people who are taking advantage of those that do not have access to internet and creating a window that makes them feel like if they went without using that path, they will not be served. Dear viewer, the pre-registration portal is a self-use option for those that have the ability and access to internet. I want to empower you that if you do not have access to internet and you cannot do the pre-registration, do not accept to be robbed an arm and a leg, someone charging you 20,000, 30,000, claiming they are doing you a favor. If you don't have internet or a phone, we are saying come as you are, walk into the NIRA registration center, we will initiate that process at our office. So there is a problem of extortion from third-party people. But also there are cases where people are saying that a few of our team members are soliciting money for that service. I want to say, be woke. This is your country. This is a service that your government, whom you give taxes, has brought to you. There is no need to pay at any part of the process. The officer is paid to enroll you. Your duty is simply to come, carry the requirements required, and show up. The process is free. You only need your old card to renew. If you don't have your card, a police letter that shows you lost it. And the forms are available at the station. But if you have ability, you can download the form.
Maybe, Claire, instead of emphasizing the applicants not to position themselves into being extorted, why haven't you sensitized your officials to stop soliciting? Aren't you paying them enough?
No, without a doubt, we are paying our officers enough. Actually, more than ever before. And these are the suggestions we've been hearing from Nansana. It turns out that the biggest problem is arising from people who are doing the pre-registration. Because the forms are given out publicly. And another thing I want to say, if you're renewing your ID, you do not need to go through the LC, GISO, DISO process because your citizenship did not expire. What expired is the card. So only bring your card. Do not create a bureaucracy, whereas we are working tirelessly to enforce and ensure that our officers act appropriately. Which officers, by the way, come from you, your families. I don't think that they came from us. No. These people working with NIRA are your sisters, are your brothers, are your children. So we are working tirelessly to tell them about the acceptable standards and dealing in a robust manner with disciplinary emerging issues. But you as a citizen need to be empowered. You need to know your rights. You need to know your entitlements. And that is the empowerment I give you today. This service is free. Please do not pay a NIRA officer to capture your biometrics. Do not allow them to fool you that if you give me 10,000, the system will work faster and smarter. Don't fall for that pitfall.
How can now, because we understand some of this service is being paid for by the government, it requires some remuneration like replacing a national ID, because our local may not be able to differentiate between. They may come when they have lost the ID, but they need to be enrolled. So, and they will be required to pay the 50,000. So how have you done, how have you done it to sensitize these people and tell when and how to pay for this money? Because I have a sister who has already lost some money to your officials. And
thank you very much, Joseph, and that is very regrettable. There is no mincing words. A wrong is a wrong. It doesn't matter how many facets you give it, and it's regrettable. However, we are empowering our people. NIRA is very responsive on X, very responsive on TikTok. Speak up. Call 0800 211 700. It's a toll free. Report corruption. Because you see, we cannot police everybody, but every Ugandan is an intelligence officer. If someone is telling you to pay for replacement, report. Because in this current exercise, whereas replacement fee is gazetted, the government has said that because the new card we are going to give you is a new format card with improved features and therefore a fast, we are not charging replacement. We are saying if you have the old card, it is sufficient as a requirement. If you lost it, a police report. Please don't be fooled in this exercise to pay the 50,000. The 50,000 is a gazetted fee, but it will apply after we have issued you with the new format cards, which if you receive and you lose, the fee will apply. So the waiver is for this exercise to the extent that you are replacing an old format card. But once you receive it, please guard it delicately, because as soon as you lose it, the 50,000 will apply. The other group that will pay money are people who want to make changes on their national ID.
Changing of particulars.
Yes, these changes could be for people who made mistakes of their own accord, or people who have willfully changed their names. For example, I could be Catholic today, and tomorrow I get an Islam man who marries me and I become Hawa, then I want to change my name, then I will pay. But if the errors also that warrant change were occasioned by NIRA, it will still be free. Yes.
So right there about the particulars and the new features you've just introduced, we would like you to throw more light about because the last time, apparently I heard you have enrolled more 3 features, security features, and one is multiple laser image, machine readable zone, quick response code, and the 2D code. What are these features? Like what is the purpose? Because that integrates the question of data protection. Some applicants are complaining you're asking for too much.
Thank you very much. Now, with technology and with growth, there are people who are also not sitting. While we are struggling so much to identify ourselves, there are people who are working equally very hard to beat the system. And so with technological advancements, we are also moving to a world of improving our technology advancements to be able to make sure that where the national ID is a prerequisite for access to service, the national ID itself offers enough security in a manner that is not replicable, or in a manner that does not abuse or cause other external third-party users like, say, banks, insurance companies, to also become susceptible to issues of fraud or abuse by way of people who might forge the national ID or try to create a similar document. So all those elements you've mentioned are just enhanced features to add security and to make sure that as the ID is the foundational identification document, it delivers on all fronts. In terms of data protection, I want to comfort us, dear viewer. We treat your security with absolute integrity, and we guard it jealously because we know what it means to you. It is who you are, and we don't want to make it a line of abuse by other people. The concerns that are raising have been relating to mainly 4 issues, if I recall well. One issue that is coming out very saliently is the element of why we are asking for tribe. And that's why I want to...
I mean, regardless of the tribe, I'm a Ugandan. Why are you so... why do you need to know that tribe?
Now, the Constitution of Uganda spells out types of citizenship. The first type of citizenship under Article 10 is citizenship by birth. Now, citizenship by birth refers to a person whose one parent or one grandparent, we don't care whether maternal or paternal, but one grandparent belongs to an indigenous community. So Joseph, a citizen by birth in Uganda, is not the one born in Mengo. He's not the one born in Mulago. Rather, a citizen by birth is a person whose one parent belongs to indigenous community. Someone came at me on Twitter and said, I'm talking about tribes, and yet we're talking about Ugandans. Painfully, whether you want it or not, that's our constitution. Indigenous community is a synonym for tribe. And we have 65 gazetted indigenous communities or tribes in Uganda. So when we are defining a citizen by birth, we are saying a person who belongs to one of those indigenous communities or those tribes which are well ring-fenced in the 3rd schedule of the schedule. Okay? So a Ugandan must be a person that you belong to those indigenous communities, and we can trace you back to February 1926 when Uganda got boundaries.
Yes.
Okay? So it's a funny decision. So ours is by descent. So if you were born in America or in Japan, but your parents belong to an indigenous community, you are a Ugandan. Because birth is an event, and you report it where it has happened. Because now, if I had gone for pilgrimage in Chibeho, and I gave birth from there, does it take away that I've delivered a Ugandan? No. It is the event that has happened in Chibeho. But me who was delivered, I'm a Ugandan, therefore my child is a Ugandan who was born in Chibeho. Okay? So the place of birth is simply an event recording that we record. So I want to come out to our viewers and say you don't have to be confused. Our definition has a lot to do that. But however, in that same clause, there are exceptions. But that's a small number because 95% of us subscribe to Ugandanness by the route I explained before.
Yes.
But there are also citizens by birth who don't belong to an indigenous community. The 1995 Constitution further states under Article 10 that a citizen by birth is also, in addition to the other one, that person who was known to be a Ugandan by the day that Constitution came into force. An indication that anybody as of that date when the Constitution came into force was a Ugandan will be upheld as a Ugandan. This speaks to the people who are colored. Many of you will see a colored person, and it makes people make a lot of noise. And you say, but people are brown, they are white, they are Indian, they are gray, they are green, and they are Ugandans, they have cards and we don't have. Please don't stereotype people based on color and how they look. Because the earlier constitution, like the one after independence of 1962, all people whose parents or grandparents had been born in Uganda and were found in Uganda when we got independence, because of the post-independence regulations, became Ugandans. So in Uganda, Uganda we are funny of where it was. Yes, that at the time Uganda got independence, they were Ugandans. But even then there was a condition that time that for you to be considered in that category, your parent or grandparent must have been born in Uganda. And we can trace you back to the 1926. Okay?
Yes.
Must have been born in Uganda. So there are those of you who came in 1955, in 1960, but you came with your mother walking on foot. So none of your parents was born in Uganda. So you are not a Ugandan. You're not a Ugandan. Yes, you were only staying in Uganda when we got independence. But in the category of the people who qualified, you were not there. Okay.
So right there about the citizenship and who can be Ugandan, who is a legitimate Ugandan and who is not. We would like to pose a question. I would like to drag you back to our people in the diaspora regarding this ongoing exercise. How are they tapping? Okay, won't they miss out on this exercise? And in case, under circumstances when this exercise elapses before them renewing or participating, what could be the procedures? How can they? Because they are still Ugandans and we need to integrate them in our system.
Agreed. I want to thank you very much. And on this note, I want to encourage them. Ugandans diaspora, we have an arrangement that caters for Middle East, for Europe, for USA, and fund-wide. There are particular designated embassies that are also registration centers. I'm sure about Pretoria. I'm sure about in Dubai, we normally take outreaches for registration, and the UK embassy, among others, even Washington, D.C. But of course, for details of other localities, then you can reach out to us and then we'll give you that detail, which I can't have offhand now. But yes, we have that arrangement. It requires a bit of travel, depending on where you are, but at least better half a loaf than none. Yes. That at least there is some ray of light, that we are making an effort to reach you where you are. However, I have a caution. Many of you Ugandans have since gone abroad and therefore abandoned your Ugandanness for one reason or another, married, obtained paperwork, and taken on citizenship of another country without becoming dual. Now, those may not qualify to renew because it means that they renounced Ugandanness. And we are doing this for people who are still Ugandans as of today. So, evaluate yourself in your heart. And this is one of the things I'm telling citizens. Be honest Be truthful. If you're no longer a citizen of Uganda or out of knowledge lacuna, you made a mistake and obtained another type of citizenship without doing due diligence to obtain a dual, then it means you lost the other one. So we might inconvenience you a little to that extent. So we're doing this for Ugandans.
You're doing this for Uganda right there. We thank you, Claire. In case you have something you wouldn't want to miss out, telling our viewers, but for now, with the time is not so friendly to us. We would like to end this discussion.
Yes. So for me, in all this, I want to thank you for coming out in big numbers, and I'm very passionate. I've made this clear that beyond being a registrar of persons, I have a strong conviction about the power of what proper identification can do. It unlocks opportunities, and that's our truth as me, Claire, but also as NIRA. This is what we all believe, that each one of you has got a right to proper identification. We want to say that now that we are at your parish, please make the time to come. If you've never enrolled and you're below 18, singular requirement, parent or blood relatives ID. If you're an adult, you'll need to go through the ELS ISO system to give you a recommendation letter in addition to your parents' IDs. It is my hope that after 6 months, the whole population, and particularly the citizens, not the whole population of Uganda, will be registered. If you're a foreigner, please don't be tempted to beat the system, because at a particular point T, the law will catch up with you and the experience will not be a palatable one. Thank you, and I can't wait to see you at the NIRA Registration Center. Yeah,
with that, we would like to end our show. Please, our dear viewer, if you've not renewed, if you've not gotten enrolled into the NIRA registration system, please do so, because of a number of benefits. You know, it helps our authorities, our government to plan effectively. So let's embrace the exercise.
Thank you.
I'm Joseph Kabaale, and I wish you a nice day.
Thank you.